Here we go. Final lesson in our ecology book is Chapter 4, Land, Air, and Water Resources, Lesson 2, Waste Disposal and Recycling. After this lesson, we'll be able to name 3 methods of solid waste disposal, identify ways people can help control the solid waste problem, and explain how hazardous wastes can be safely disposed of. My Planet Diary Science Stats. Trash talk! Here are some interesting facts about trash. Every hour, people throw away 2.5 million plastic bottles. Recycling 1 aluminum can saves enough energy to run a TV for 3 hours. Americans create 2 kilograms of trash per day. That trash could fill 63,000 garbage trucks each day. In 2005, the United States government recorded the first ever drop in the amount of trash produced from the previous year. Trash declined by 1.5 million metric tons from 2004 to 2005, partly due to an increase in recycling. Question 1 says, do you think the amount of trash we produce will increase or decrease in the future? I'd say probably we're going to decrease in the future because recycling is making a comeback and being pretty popular. Number 2 says, what are some ways that you can do to reduce the amount of trash you create personally? And some ways are by following our reduce, reuse. I'm really bad at letters today. Reduce, reuse, recycle. There we go. So we can recycle more, use less, and reuse materials that we possibly can. What are 3 solid waste disposal methods? People generate many types of waste, including empty packaging, paper, and food scraps. The wastes produced in homes, businesses, schools, and in the community are called municipal solid waste. Other sources of solid waste include construction debris, agricultural wastes, and industrial wastes. 3 methods of handling solid waste are burning, burying, and recycling. Each method has its advantages and disadvantages. The burning of solid waste is called incineration. The burning facilities, or incinerators, do not take up much space. They do not directly pollute groundwater. The heat produced by burning solid waste can be used to produce electricity. Incinerators supply electricity to many homes. Unfortunately, incinerators do have drawbacks. Even the best incinerators create some air pollution. Although incinerators reduce the volume of waste by as much as 90%, some waste still remains and needs to be disposed of somewhere. Incinerators are also expensive to build. Apply it! What happens to all the trash? Number 1 says to use the data in the table and the key to fill in the bar graph. The graph represents the methods of municipal waste disposal in the United States in 2007. Give the graph a title. So probably our title, because what are we talking about? Again, we don't have to be creative with this. We're talking about methods of waste disposal. Perfect. Whoops. Whoa. Hang on. Let me fix the size of this pen. And we're back. Methods of waste disposal. That's it. That's all we need to do. We know our disposal methods are here, and how much waste they are is here. So our incineration is at 13%. So we know our graph is going to be around here, and we have our lines because that's what our incineration means. Our landfills are at 54%. So we know 50 is between 40 and 60, and a little bit more halfway than that. Here we have landfills, and they want dots. That's landfills. Recycling is 33%. So 33% is like here And they want boxes. Pretend these are boxes that are colored in. Number 2 says, why do you think incineration is the least popular method of solid waste disposal? Well, perhaps because incinerators are expensive to build. We did learn that they cost a lot of money to make just one. They create some air pollution, so we're trading out one pollution for another pollution. And some waste still remains even after we use the incinerators. Besides incinerators, we also use landfills. Until fairly recently, people disposed of waste in open holes in the ground called dumps. Some of this waste polluted the environment. Any substance that causes pollution is a pollutant. Dumps were dangerous and unsightly. Rainwater falling on a dump dissolved chemicals from the wastes, forming a polluted liquid called liachte. Liachte could run off into the streams and lakes or trickle down into the groundwater. In 1976, the government banned open dumps. Now, much of solid waste is buried in landfills that are built to hold the wastes more safely. A sanitary landfill holds municipal solid waste, construction debris, and some types of agricultural and industrial waste. Figure 1 shows the parts of a well-designed sanitary landfill. Once a landfill is full, it is covered with a clay cap to keep rainwater from entering the waste. Even well-designed landfills can pollute groundwater. Capped landfills can be reused as parks and sites for sports arenas. They cannot be used for housing or agriculture. This here shows Figure 1, sanitary landfill design. So they're designed to protect the surrounding areas. They want us to use the terms listed in the word bank to fill in the missing labels on the diagram. And then think about, why is it important for landfills to be carefully designed? So we see up here at the top, we've got I think it's actually leachate, maybe? Treatment. It's pumped into tanks for chemical treatment. We have our monitoring wells, so the liquid is tested to detect pollutants in the groundwater. And we have our leachate collection, which is where the water moving through the landfill dissolves wastes, forming the leachate. So something is the clay and plastic liners prevent liquids from reaching the soil. Something is compacting the waste, prevents settling. Each layer is covered with clean soil or plastic. And something are pipes release gases produced when bacteria breaks down wastes. Well, we can see pipes releasing gas produced when bacteria breaks down wastes. So probably the first one we're going to do is vent pipes. Vent pipes. So vent pipes release the gas produced when bacteria breaks down into wastes. Here we have solid waste layers. So solid waste layers. Boom. These we have to cover with each layer covered with clean soil or plastic so we can separate the wastes. And then down here we have our liners. Boom, that's this bit here. That's the clay and plastic liners preventing liquids from reaching the soil. So thinking, why is it important for landfills to be carefully designed? Well, we have to have all of this design here, boom, because the leachate would sink into the groundwater, and in that case, it would pollute the groundwater. So we have to make sure everything is designed perfectly so we're not polluting. Besides landfills and incineration, our final one is recycling. You may have heard of the 3 R's. Definitely, because I said it like 9 minutes ago. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. Reduce refers to creating less waste from the beginning, such as using cloth shopping bags rather than disposable ones. Reuse refers to finding another use for an object rather than just discarding it, such as refilling reusable bottles with drinking water instead of buying new bottled water. The process of reclaiming raw materials and reusing them to create new products is called recycling. You can recycle at home and encourage others to recycle. You can buy products made from recycled materials. Your purchase makes it more profitable for companies to use recycled materials in products. Another way to reduce solid waste is to start a compost pile. The moist, dark conditions in a compost pile allow natural decomposers to break down grass clippings, leaves, and some food wastes. Compost is an excellent natural fertilizer for plants. Those are our 3 types. What are the major categories of recycling? Recycling reduces the volume of solid waste by reusing materials. Recycling uses energy, but it also saves the energy that would be needed to obtain, transport, and process raw materials. Recycling is also cheaper than making new materials. Additionally, recycling conserves non-renewable resources and limits the environmental damage caused by mining for raw materials. Materials that can be broken down and recycled by bacteria and other decomposers are biodegradable. Many products people use today are not biodegradable, such as plastic containers, metal cans, rubber tires, and glass jars. Instead, people have developed different ways to recycle the raw materials in these products. A wide range of materials can be recycled. Most recycling focuses on 4 major categories of products: metal, glass, paper, and plastic. Here we have a chart that shows the material, the recycling process, and the products that are made from recycling that material. We said our 4 major categories are metal, glass, paper, and plastic. So for metal, they're melted in furnaces and then rolled into sheets. And then products that can be made from that are cars, cans, bikes, jewelry, office supplies, house siding. Glass pieces are melted in furnaces also, but then cast into brand new glass. So bottles, floor tiles, countertops, jewelry, and jars can be made from that. Paper gets shredded and mixed with water to form pulp. So the pulp is then washed, dried, and rolled into new sheets. After that, you can create things like toilet paper, notebook paper, paper cups, paper plates, napkins, and envelopes. Out of all of these, paper is the easiest to do at home. You can make brand new paper by mixing old paper into a pulp and creating new sheets. My mom used to do that for a while. And then plastic containers are chopped up, washed, and then melted. The molten plastic is then turned into pellets that can be heated and molded. And then these plastic pieces turn into picnic tables, park benches, speed bumps, recycling bins, playground equipment, the deck lumber, a fleece like the girl's jacket down here in the picture. Is recycling worthwhile? Besides conserving resources, recycling saves energy. Making aluminum products from recycled aluminum rather than from raw materials uses about 90% less energy overall. For certain materials, recycling is usually worthwhile. However, recycling is not a complete answer to the solid waste problem. For some cities, recycling is not cost-effective. Scientists have not found a good way to recycle some materials, such as plastic-coated paper and plastic foam. Some recycled products, such as low-quality recycled newspaper, have few uses. All recycling processes require energy and create pollution. The value of recycling must be judged on a case-by-case basis. And our final question is, how are hazardous wastes safely disposed of? Many people picture hazardous waste as bubbling chemicals or oozing slime. But any material that can be harmful to human health or the environment if it is not properly disposed of is a hazardous waste. Toxic wastes can damage the health of humans and other organisms. Explosive wastes can react very quickly when exposed to air or water, or explode when dropped. Flammable wastes easily catch fire. Corrosive wastes can dissolve many materials. Everyday hazardous wastes include electronic devices, batteries, and paint. Other wastes that require special disposal are radioactive wastes. Radioactive wastes give off radiation that can cause cancer and other diseases. Some radioactive waste can remain dangerous for millions of years. A person can be exposed to hazardous wastes by breathing, eating, drinking, or touching them. Even short-term exposure to hazardous wastes can cause problems such as skin irritation or breathing difficulties. Long-term exposure can cause diseases such as cancer, damage to body organs, or in some cases, death. Is it difficult? Try that again. It is difficult to safely dispose of hazardous wastes. Hazardous wastes are more often disposed in carefully designed landfills. The landfills are lined and covered with clay and plastic. These materials prevent chemicals from leaking into the soil and groundwater. Hazardous wastes that are not disposed of in carefully designed landfills may be incinerated or broken down by organisms. Liquid wastes may be stored in deep rock layers. Scientists are still searching for methods that will provide safe and permanent disposal of radioactive wastes. Some wastes are currently stored in vaults dug hundreds of meters underground or in concrete and steel containers above ground. It is a challenge to decide where to build hazardous waste disposal facilities. In general, people would prefer to have a single large factory located in an area where few people live. However, it may be safer, cheaper, and easier to transport waste to small local facilities instead. The best way to manage hazardous wastes is to produce less of them in the first place. Industries are eager to develop safe alternatives to harmful chemicals. At home, you can find substitutes for some hazardous household chemicals. For example, you could use citronella candles instead of insect spray to repel insects. So, that is it for this lesson. That is it for this book. We are all done with this book. So, use the knowledge that you have from this lesson, thinking about recycling products, what to do with hazardous wastes, how you can help the environment in a small way, even if not on a large scale way, just by doing you and recycling things that way. I will see you on Monday for social studies. And next week, we will be starting the blue book, which is rocks or something. Technically a 7th grade program, but I think we can handle it. I will see you then. Have a great weekend.